Hello everybody, I am Jarrett Ross, the Genie Vlogger, and welcome back to another Professional Genealogist Reacts. On today's video, I will be reacting to Very Confused by My DNA Results, My Heritage DNA by Dina Tokyo. I am not familiar with this channel at all. I don't even know if I actually said her name correctly. I'm just assuming it's Tokyo. Maybe it's something else. But as usual, I did a quick look into her. I did see that she has an Egyptian ancestry. I guess she's Egyptian English, lives in the UK, but is from Egypt. So I'm guessing that we're going to see a pretty big mix of things, especially because this is a MyHeritage DNA test. So we're probably going to see North African. I imagine we'll see various Middle Eastern and Mediterranean stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Southern European. Very possible that we may get some small African readings otherwise, especially like Eastern Africa, maybe some Western Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa or something like that. And also very possible to see some Asian results. Very likely to see Western Asian, possible Southwestern Asian like India, Pakistan, or something like that. Maybe Eastern Asian. I think the most surprising thing would be to see some sort of Native American or something. Although it wouldn't be surprising to see it in very small percentages, just because Asian and Native American connections through genetics make it so that sometimes they get mixed up. And being that this is titled Very Confused by My DNA Results, that makes a lot of sense with everything, that if she got a lot of stuff but was expecting specifically Egypt, she's probably going to be disappointed. I also noticed that this video is from 6 years ago, very old video, so the results have definitely changed. MyHeritage announced recently they're going to be doing a big update, so we'll be seeing a new update sometime in the next few months, hopefully. Maybe even by the time this reaction comes out, I don't know. It takes me a while sometimes. But I'm not going to say anything else, let's just go ahead and jump into the video.
Basically, literally about 8 weeks ago, I was on the internet and I thought, oh my god, I need to do one of those DNA results test things.
DNA results.
DNA.
Super popular at that point on YouTube for everyone to do it.
You are not the father.
Anyway, I need to basically find out where I'm from.
Okay.
Like, properly, not just half Egyptian, half English.
Okay, so half Egyptian, half English. That's what I wasn't sure about, because I saw a few things saying Egyptian English, and I couldn't tell if she was fully Egyptian or partial or what. So it sounds like one parent's Egyptian, one parent's English. So we're very likely going to see a larger mixture of things than even I said before. It's very typical for sort of Egyptian, Middle Eastern, North African results to have a lot of mixture just because of the history and migration of people throughout North Africa and the Middle East. But adding in the English side to it also puts in the Northwestern European. So it's very possible we're going to see Scandinavian results, Finnish results, Northwestern Central European results, possible French and German, very likely Spanish and Portuguese, but that could be attributed to either side. Although I guess maybe very likely is a little too big of a word, but it's very possible that we'll see that Iberian basically.
But I went on MyHeritage DNA because it was £10 off. It cost me £69 and normally it costs like £79. This came through the post and then I had to like do a I had to do like a swab. They emailed me saying, "Dear Dina, this is a courtesy reminder that the results of the DNA test are ready. If you haven't reviewed them already, you're invited to do so now." And I think I'll just show you because everybody has it come through the post except for me. And I'm like, did I do something wrong?
It's not loading.
It's not loading. What am I gonna do?
I personally hate looking at any sort of DNA results through my phone. I always like being on the computer. I also hate doing any genealogy on my phone. Like I was so surprised to find out that a lot of people like to use genealogy apps on their phone. If you like to use genealogy apps on your phone, comment in the comments.
Dina, ready to explore your ethnicity? Let's go, it says. Yalla. Dina, you are... Whoa.
Listen to the music.
Hold on, let me mute this.
Yeah, they
okay,
always
so
have
they're going
that
to do like a
loud
slideshow
music.
for me.
Oh.
Oh, shit, hold on.
Wait.
What
Go
was
to
it?
the first one. Go to the first one.
Why is it doing slideshow?
Maybe we should have showed that.
Okay, so...
Play it again. Do you want to play it?
Okay, here you go. I'll play it again for you guys.
Okay, 39.1% North and West European. Makes sense, as we expected. Let's see. 23.8% Iberian. So like I said, not surprising at all, and this could be coming through either side.
It looks like a Kamehameha on there, not the Earth.
Whatever, stop with the music. Right, skip this. Let's just go through it, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Dina Torquia, you are 39.1% North and West European. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean, bro?
What does that mean? Is this stuff legit?
North and West European would basically cover England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, even into like Poland, Denmark, Scandinavian. Like it basically covers a huge amount of Europe.
23.8% Iberian. Where's Iberia?
Spain and Portugal.
I need my phone for this.
Really? I should have done this for Sid as well.
Iberia is one that I'm always surprised people don't know that it's Spain and Portugal.
Oh, but I didn't want to pay for that.
What's Iberia? Is it a country?
Yeah, obviously. Iberia Airlines. Look.
It's an airline. The Iberian Peninsula, also known as Iberia, is located in southwest corner of Europe.
11.8% Greek.
You're Greek!
Yeah.
That Mediterranean connection. So very, not surprising.
Let's go get the plates. Is that it, babes? 11.5% Middle Eastern.
There you go, Middle Eastern.
Dina was thinking she'd be on here going, oh my god, I'm black! Like Vicky Woe.
And then it says 13.8% of 3 more ethnicities, but doesn't say what the ethnicities
You
are.
gotta look at
so let's
them.
go on view full ethnicity estimates.
Oh,
It better be more detailed than that. I could have told you that,
Yeah.
kind of.
okay.
Oh my god, so I'm 75.8% Europe.
European. You're 75% European.
You married a bare white girl, bro. And then 12.7% Africa.
So we're in Africa.
North Africa, that's Egypt.
North
obviously.
Africa, West Africa, Nigeria.
So Europe is North and West Europe, and then South Europe, which is Iberian Greek, and then Ashkenazi Jewish, 1%.
It makes sense with the connection of Sephardic Jews and the Inquisition, and so basically anyone with a lot of Iberian ancestry is going to get these readings. So the fact that she got such a large amount of Iberian, which I was expecting to see Iberian, but I don't think I was expecting to see it like one of the largest. But being that it seems that she likely has actual Iberian ancestry, that is likely where this Ashkenazi Jewish is coming from. And even though I'm saying this is Sephardic ancestry, when it comes to these tests, they're really not that great at deciphering between Ashkenazi Jewish and Sephardic Jewish and the other subgroups of Jews. But basically what it is that there's such a strong genetic connection between all of the various groups of Sephardic Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, Mizrahi Jews, etc., that it's so hard to decipher them genetically, on top of the fact that it's very difficult to get very specific studies on these various communities because a lot of them have either been wiped out or assimilated with other cultures. So it's very, very difficult to get this stuff. So some sites try to decipher it, like MyHeritage is one of the sites that has multiple Jewish readings. I don't know if they did at this point 6 years ago, but it's very possible that, you know, she may have Sephardic readings now, like instead of it saying Ashkenazi, it might say Sephardic, but also it's probably going to show Ashkenazi. So I know people who are 100% Sephardic, who've tested through MyHeritage, and they still get percentages of Ashkenazi, but their genealogy and their matching to DNA matches proves without a doubt that the majority of their ancestry is Sephardic.
What's the Ashkenaz?
People are going to get triggered in the comments.
And it says Africa, North Africa is 9.6%, West Africa is Nigerian 3.1%. So obviously the North African is going to be Egyptian.
Oh.
What?
Ashkenazi Jews are also known as Ashkenazi Jews. That's literally what it says.
Did it say that?
A population of Jews from the Holy Roman Empire.
Let me see. And then it says 11.5% Middle East. But it doesn't say like where in the Middle East, so... Oh, it gives you all the info there, Sid, look.
This video is more boring than my life.
This is so boring. Who wants to know about it?
Boring ass video.
I find it funny that they think this is boring. To me, it's not boring at all, but at the same time, they seem very ignorant of world geography, like Ashkenazi Jews. That's one that's also surprising that they wouldn't know. You know, I'd think Iberia, Ashkenazi Jews would be two things that a lot of people would know. I guess maybe not everybody. You know, it is what it is.
Oh, here we go. Many people from North African region known as the Maghreb, which encompasses modern-day Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, Egypt then.
Yeah, but it does still include Egypt. They're just explaining what it can include. The thing is that DNA doesn't care about country lines, which is how a lot of people think about it, and I don't know if that's exactly how they're thinking about it, but it feels kind of like it, especially with that comment about, well, Middle East, but they're not saying where in the Middle East. But what it is that they can just generally say, okay, because we found this commonality of this stretch of DNA amongst all of these people in this region, we're going to define anyone that has that stretch of DNA as coming from that region. And where are they getting these stretches of DNA? Through all of the studies that they've done of testing people from those ancestries. So basically they find a bunch of people who have it where they have only a specific ancestry. So, you know, for North African, basically all these different studies where the commonality is North Africa. That's the majority of the people tested, their ancestry is North Africa. So when they find the correlations between all these various people, they can say, okay, this is North Africa. But if they try to come down and say, okay, specifically Egypt, the genetic correlation between Egypt and the rest of North Africa, and then also the Middle East, and just think about where Egypt is, there's a lot of genetic connection, and so it basically is really difficult to actually be able to decipher, oh, this is specifically Egypt. So that's why for a lot of these DNA tests, you get these broad regions as what you're told instead of specific countries.
It doesn't say Egypt there.
Egypt's in North Africa. Well, we knew Dina was Egyptian. We already knew
I'm
that.
not even Egyptian.
Do you know what
I need to break this to Baba.
You're still Egyptian. Your ancestors lived in Egypt. They are Egyptian. You have Egyptian ancestry. This is just kind of giving you a blurry mosaic of about where your ancestry is coming from. But this doesn't even represent your entire ancestry. Remember, the DNA that you have, you only have 50% of your mom's DNA and 50% of your dad's DNA. So that means there's 50% of their DNA you don't have, and that's not going to be represented in these tests. So if you have one ancestor through your mom's side who was Chinese, let's say, who was like a third great grandparent of yours or a fourth great grandparent, it's possible you may not inherit any Chinese DNA because of the recombination of DNA through each generation. Things can get filtered out. And so you can have it where, you know, your mom may have, 8% Chinese DNA and you inherit none of it, and it's just part of that big 50% chunk of DNA you didn't get from your mom. So the tests are just using, first of all, the DNA that you have and the small amount of that DNA, because they're only testing a small percentage of your entire genome. And then they're trying to correlate this to all these other people all around the world in these different population groups. So there's a lot of things going on here. And then they just try to, it's basically this really complex, complicated dance and view of all these different things throughout these studies. Then they take all of that information and try to dwindle it down into the most easily digestible information for consumers. All right, rant over.
Put that up right now.
Oh, he's gone mad.
Baba, should I call him right now?
Do you know what's Go on. Wait, that'll be hilarious. Dina's surname is Torquia. I thought there would have been some sort of turkey in
I
there.
thought there would have been some kind of turkey in there, but there's no.
It's still possible. Turkey. Look at the area, Middle Eastern, Greece, other places. Just because it's not saying Turkey specifically, and think about the fact that Turkey has only been a country for a very short time. For the longer amount of time, we've been dealing with the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire stretched vastly into the Middle East, into Europe and Eastern Europe, into Asia, Central Asia. I mean, yeah. All right, let's continue.
No turkey in there whatsoever. He calls me 24/7. No, he's not going to answer.
Maybe he's got no reception.
You called isn't available at the moment.
All right, forget that.
I will say this is really funny because this is hitting all of the tropes of the DNA reaction videos from about this time, I think. Like all the videos from about 5-6 years ago, everyone is like, that takes the test, a large amount from my feeling is that they just are kind of woefully ignorant of world geography and things like, what is Iberia and what are Ashkenazi Jews and things like that. But then also hitting the tropes of just like, oh, well, I'm just boring, or this is boring, or whatever. And, oh, well, we got to call the family now and let them know that we're not what we thought we are. But it's really just based on the fact they don't understand the test. It's like all these tropes. Like, I've actually thought about doing a comedy sketch about this kind of stuff of just every DNA test on YouTube and just like kind of hitting all of these tropes.
Just speak after the tone.
Baba, I'm not Egyptian. I'm 78% European, and then I'm only 11% Middle Eastern, and they don't even say it's Egypt. Can you believe it? Mafish Masr or Mafish Turkey. We're not Egyptian, bro. That's it. That was really short, pointless video, just as I suspected. Are you glad you didn't do one?
What do I need to know where I'm from?
Yeah, we know where you're from.
Yeah, I'm not trying to find my parents or anything. I'm not trying to find my heritage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not trying to find your heritage, you're not going to get anything out of these tests. You know, that's what these are for, if you want to find your heritage. But the funny thing, too, is these percentages are the worst part of the test. The best part of the test are the DNA matches.
I know I'm a
Like
Paki.
like I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought I was half Egyptian, but I'm not.
Who cares? Does it make a difference to your life?
But to be honest with you, I still am, because Baba was born and raised in Egypt, and everything in my Baba side is all Egyptian culture, so like, normally they're more detailed.
Nope.
Do you reckon I just bought a bad one?
I think do a better
Nope.
one than that.
I'm not spending another 70 quid on that shit. Imagine if I do and it comes back saying, yeah, totally different things.
It probably will.
Probably will. That's what we should have done for...
Actually, it probably will. Not necessarily totally different things, but fairly different. It's going to be generally the same. These DNA tests are like a blurry picture. And another way I like to talk about it, especially when you're comparing different DNA test sites, like Ancestry versus MyHeritage versus Family Tree DNA, etc., what you're going to be comparing is, instead of saying, okay, well, here's a blurry picture of your ancestry, instead, now you're basically asking multiple painters to paint a blurry image of you. Okay, here, you paint a blurry image of me. You paint a blurry image of me. You paint a blurry image of me. Each painter is going to paint generally about the same because, like for me, I have red hair, I have blue eyes, I have freckles, they are going to paint certain characteristics, but each painting is going to look fairly different. And it's the same with these DNA tests, where you're going to get fairly generally similar results to the other tests, but they're still going to be different. And some tests are going to be more different than others. MyHeritage is the one that's often quoted as the least liked by people because it's the most different from what they expect based on their known family trees and ancestry. But what they're saying right here, boom, another trope of that time of, oh, we should have done multiple. They would have done it, shown them as different percentages. So these are basically just a scam. And I feel like 4 or 5, 6 years ago, all those DNA test result videos, there's just a large amount of just YouTubers just, ooh, this is the big content now. And they do it and they don't really know what it is. And so they just play up to their audience of just like, playing up their ignorance of, well, I think all of the audience is probably like this too, so whatever, And then when I watch it as a reaction, it's like, I'm not part of their audience, so to me it's just like, okay, yeah, just more people that didn't really understand the test and just kind of took it as whatever because of that. All right, let's continue the last 15 seconds of this video.
For this video,
Comparing.
compared all of the sites.
Yeah, compare them all and
for
spend
God's
Yeah,
thousands of
another
pounds
one
on
saying, hey, we should
common
compare them
That's what I
all.
should have done. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you on my next video, which will be better than this one.
swans. Bye.
All right, well, that was not a very good video. She didn't really talk much about her ancestry, so, we did get that at least idea of, okay, we're looking at one parent who's Egyptian, one parent who is European or English, I think it was, she said. So the results came out pretty similar to like kind of what I said in the beginning. We're going to see a fairly large mix. It wasn't quite as large of a mix as I expected. I think these are like an older version of the results. Like I think there have been a few variations since 6 years ago. Obviously, there's a big new one coming out soon, so it's going to be very different soon anyway. A lot of it fell into what I would expect with someone with Egyptian ancestry and English ancestry. As usual, it would have been really nice to see the DNA matches. I think especially for people like her where they have this Egyptian ancestry but also English. And so seeing, do you get a lot of those Egyptian matches on there? People still living in Egypt or North Africa or the Middle East? Or is it all largely people in England, and thus mostly her English side represented in the DNA matches, which I'm guessing that's probably the case. She probably has a lot more English matches, but still with MyHeritage, them being a much more international company with their DNA test, their database has more international testers. So it'd be interesting to see, does she have a lot of Egyptian matches? I think a good point to hit here is something that he said, where he said he's not interested in finding his parents or finding his heritage or whatever. And, you know, that's fine. People don't have to be interested in this stuff. And if you're not interested in it, don't do it. You know, you don't have to. Now, you may have relatives in your family like me who are big genealogists who would bug the hell out of you to do it, because you doing a DNA test can actually help them out a lot. So if that's the case and you're fine with them doing it like that, do it, because that could really help uncover your family's ancestry. And even though you may not care, your relatives may care, and maybe you'll care in the future, because that's a common theme too, is people don't care about their ancestry, and then they hit a point where all of a sudden they start thinking about, well, yeah, I guess, you know, my mom had a mom and a dad, and they each had a mom and a dad, and, you know, how did their growing up affect them, and then growing up affect the next generation, and that thus affected me. And, you know, that's how I think of a lot of this stuff, is like, you know, just kind of the generation things. And, you know, I won't get too far into it, but if you're not into it, you know, don't worry about it. But it was really funny how they really did hit every single trope of the videos from this time period, which, I mean, it is a video from that time period. And I'm curious if maybe since then, in this past 6 years, they've changed their tune about things, or maybe got a bit more into it. I've noticed in a lot of my reactions that the people I react to, their videos where they're kind of like this, where they don't really know the geography, they don't really know all of the terminology of the different population groups like Iberia and Ashkenazi Jews, and then afterwards the comments and things lead them down a rabbit hole to then discover a lot more. So I wonder if that's the case where, you know, this video, they're like, oh, this is a bad video, we hated doing this, blah, 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 blah. But then, you know, 6 years later, now she's like obsessed with her family history, and he's done a DNA test and he's into it. Could be completely wrong, but it'd be interesting to see if that was the case. So now, if you enjoyed watching this reaction, you'd like to see more reactions just like this, be sure to check out this one right here. Thank you to all my Patreon patrons and YouTube members.